G'day from the circuit, Gilles Villeneuve, and I can tell you right now there are thousands of F1 fans in this city who are furious. Why? Well, they'd bought tickets, they were attempting to get into the track, and they were told no, FP1 and FP2 had been cancelled. Who told them this? The police. And were those sessions cancelled? No. They both ran. Some of the people were turned away on the bridge, others were turned away at metro stations well away from the track. Formula One's understand to be very angry. The police took it upon themselves to just make a statement to the crowd and turn them away. These people had paid big money for a ticket and they are ropeable. I put this post up on Instagram just before the start of FP1. While I'm waiting for the session to start, I'm flicking through some Insta comments and I see we were in line for an hour in the rain trying to get in. They said it's cancelled for the day. Is that true? It was not true. FP1 ran. That person went on to say that they were waiting at the bridge near the casino, and as soon as the rain stopped, they said they're not letting anyone in because both FP1 and 2 were cancelled. So everyone turned around, came back home, only to hear that in fact it was not cancelled. Even the police in the metro subway weren't letting people get on the train because the day was cancelled. Wasted money on tickets and frustrated as hell. Now someone is going to have to sort this mess out. I can tell you that Formula One is meeting with the police this afternoon to get their side of the story, but I don't know what happens to those people who've paid big money to come to the event today to be turned away when it was actually open. I tell you what, if I'd paid big money for a ticket and was turned away at that bridge and could actually see people inside and the cars running, I'd be looking for some sort of financial compensation. The session itself didn't start on time. There was a fair bit of mopping up to be done, and when it did finally get underway, Lewis Hamilton was the first car out, giving a wave to those people in stand 24 that managed to get into the track. And Aussie driver Jack Doohan was out in that session, although it didn't run for terribly long. He was in Esteban Ocon's car and would have been disappointed that that session was indeed shortened. Here's another comment. We were at the Berry station, and yes, the message over the intercom was that everything was cancelled for the day. Well, it is unbelievable, you're right. Well, they lied, went back home early to learn that FP1 was proceeding. That is a very ordinary state of affairs, and someone needs a good kick up the arse for that, I'd suggest. Well, it is an ugly day here in Montreal. This is the paddock. Before it was teeming with people, drivers everywhere, everybody enjoying themselves, and then suddenly it's pretty much cleared out with just a number of umbrellas and people underneath. We've actually had hail, and behind me here you can see some remnants of it, but this was the scene probably about 10 minutes ago, and that was about 10 minutes after the hail stopped. Now I can't remember the last time that I've seen hail at an F1 track, but I am told that, I just saw someone get clipped by an umbrella in the head. Yes, I got distracted. I am told that that hail and rain should stop by the start of FP1. Let's go through the weather for the day. We had a bit of everything, of course. We had that very savage downpour. Then we had sun for FP1. FP2 was run under sort of meh conditions, grey skies and a little bit of rain. But that didn't deter Fernando Alonso because he set the fastest time. Helmet-wise, Daniel Ricciardo's is a ripper. He's used maple syrup on the top. Well, it's not real maple syrup, it's paint, but it looks fantastic and I think very apt for this part of the world. Still on the weather, umbrellas were out in force at the end of FP2. Now, who was holding the umbrellas? Because I know you love to pick fault with, say, Lewis Hamilton when he gets one of the crew to hold his umbrella. So I can tell you that Esteban Ocon held his umbrella, but none of these did. Alex Albon, George Russell, Pierre Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Lance Stroll, Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc, no, I didn't see him with an umbrella, but he did hightail it out of the garage. He actually stopped to do a couple of selfies with some people at the request of Gino Rossato, who is a funny guy, and you might have seen my post with Gino and Carlos yesterday. Well, Gino actually commandeered Charles to do a couple of selfies, and then he was late, so he had to sprint back to the hospitality suite. Now, I did notice today that Lewis's security guards have changed again. He's going through a number of them here. Of course, that we had Lloyd last year. He didn't return this year. Pavel was at the track for a couple of races, and we haven't seen him for a while. Then we had a couple of other guys and some new people today. So he's clearly giving everybody a shot at guarding him, and I think he's pretty safe in this paddock. People pretty well behaved, although they'd be hard to catch him because a lot of the time he's on a scooter. Now, I came across this pairing today outside the Red Bull Hospitality Suite with Christian Horner, Liam Lawson and Sergio Perez having a chat. It was jolly for part of it, but really when you look at this microphone sitting above them, which is a Netflix mic, what can they really talk about? Because all the time they're thinking, hey, I can't say too much, certainly nothing confidential. And do drivers ever swat that microphone away? Yes, I have mentioned it before, but going back to Qatar, I remember Pierre Gasly giving it a swipe when he was having a chat with, I think it was Antonio Giovinazzi. Yes, it is. Here he is. There's a picture of the event. Zach Brown has a tattoo. Did you know that? Well, I learnt of it yesterday. It is the Miami track, and that'll match his Monza tattoo, which is on the other arm. However, I did ask him if I could get a picture of it, and he said, well, look, not at the moment, because it's all covered up. But he did promise on Sunday to reveal that to me and obviously to you. Thank you to the 70 or so people that rolled up for my meet and greet at stand 24, which is the hairpin today. It was a fun bunch. A couple of people brought their books along for signing, and somebody presented me with a Canada bucket hat. Thank you for that. So what you see a lot of at this time of night is people like Jolyon Palmer in the background here and Laura Winter in their running gear, because they can run the track. I could too, but I have no interest in that after walking probably 12 Ks today. But yes, the guys can run the track, and many of them do, including the likes of Jonathan Wheatley, a number of drivers. Oh, have you done your picture yet? That's Ollie behind the camera. I can't show you him because I have to be the subject of the video, but he's done his drawing. We'll go have a look at it for Sunday night's video. And other people do the running. So what is this paddock like? It's not bad. A bit noisy at this time of night, obviously, with the work being done on the cars, but the hospitality suites here are all set on the water, so they are a bit floating and a bit fixed, but come the end of the race, all of this is taken away and set up again next year. Oh, and did you know that there are 2 helicopters here at the track? You can probably hear one flying over. One is on this platform which sits on the water, but if that happens to be called into action for a medical emergency, another one flies in and sits in that spot as well. So that's a fair cost to have 2 choppers on standby. Obviously it's not quite as expensive to have one standing by as it is to have them flying. Also in this paddock, you'll see here in the middle of it is all of the Pirelli tyre stuff. That too is floating on that rowing lake, which was used in the Olympics, whenever that was. Through here, that is the pit lane, and that is the main access to it. In fact, there is only one access to it. Some tracks have 2. And behind me here are the toilets, which are open to both the public and the drivers. So you could, if you want, head in there and have a wee, guys, and be standing next to a driver, which doesn't happen at too many tracks. Now, if you're wondering what the merch sells for here at the track, and I'm upstairs at the Paddock Club, you'll find a Ferrari t-shirt for 170 Canadian. Yes, a t-shirt for 170, and the polo is 190 Canadian. So that's a fair ask, but of course if you're in the moment and you want one, they're here for you. I'll let you in on a bit of a secret here. One of the Williams crew is leaving the team. He's Ben Taus, British guy, who's been with the team doing social media. Well, because he's leaving mid-season, it's a great opportunity for the boys to give him a good farewell, and Alex Albon gave me the heads up yesterday saying that Ben will end up in here, the rowing lake, after the race on Sunday. Why? Well, it's pretty much an F1 tradition that when you leave or go to another team, they do something, not awful, but you wouldn't be queuing up for it, I guess. And in the past, I've seen some interesting things, like this fella in Abu Dhabi who was wheeled to his new team covered in all this gunk. Anyway, I am to be on hand for that and cover it for you because, well, it just seems like a bit of fun. Let me give you a little tour about the area we work in. In there is a canteen. On this side of the corridor are all the commentary suites, which the likes of BBC, Canal Plus, all the major players set up their commentary booths in there. Behind that wall is the media press conference room, and this is the media centre, this being my desk here. And we do have a nice view actually out over the driver's car park. Now people, I'm going to ask you before you leave, could you please subscribe? Some of you aren't, and I would really love to have all of you on board as subscribers, and please like the video. And for all my other content, this is where you go. Thanks for watching.
And stay passionate.
Talking about, Kim?
We're talking about furious, angry patrons who paid a lot of money to come in and were turned away.
No way.
They were turned away because the police said FP1 and 2 were cancelled. So they had to go home.
Fascists.